Everyone, we are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Good. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Never decide in the negative phase. The ultimate truth is inexpressible. Therefore, never decide for anything when you are in negative phase. It is impossible to express the ultimate truth because truth is not a commodity that can be bought. It is like a taste. You have tasted, only then you know what it is. That's why when you are in negative phase, then you cannot decide. If you have not tasted, then there is no way to convey it. A man who has not tasted honey cannot understand what sweetness is. Each sweetness is of a different quality. The man who has never seen light is incapable of understanding anything said about light. The person who has known and experienced, even he finds it almost impossible to express it because language fails too short. And Lao Tse says, that which is cannot put into the words. The word water is not water that can quench your thirst. The water that can quench your thirst is existential, and the word water is just a word. The experience is so vast and the language is so small, incapacitated. The experience is so sacred and language is so mundane. Indeed, there is no possibility of any breaching between the experience and the language. Hence, truth has been known many times, and all those who have known have tried to express it in many ways, but each one of them failed. We must be grateful that at least they tried, because out of their effort, life has been enriched. The experience of Zarathustra, Jesus, Lao Tse, Buddha, Ramakrishna, Raman, Bahauddin Naqshband, Lalaji, and other mystics. We have beautiful scriptures in almost all the religions of the world. They contain the sayings of the awakened one like Zarathustra, Jesus, Lao Tse, Buddha, Ramakrishna, Raman, Bahauddin Naqshband, Lalaji, Sheikh Nazim, and other mystics. Each is so beautiful and so precious that without them there would have been no humanity and we would have been utterly poor. But howsoever beautiful they are, they have not been able to express it totally. And they all say that they have failed. It is said about Rabindranath Tagore, he composed almost 6,000 songs, and each of his songs is soaked in divinity. It speaks of the other world. There were tears in his eyes when it was his last days. Someone asked, you should be happy that you have lived such a life. You have almost 6,000 songs. At this, Ravindra said, do not say things like that. Through these songs and all these years, I have been trying to fix the orchestra, tune the orchestra. And now that the orchestra is tuned, it is time to close off. What a beautiful way of expressing. Howsoever beautiful they are, they have not been able to express it, and they all say that they have failed. They have tried their heart in thousands of ways. Indeed, in every possible way, they have tried, but they have failed. Therefore, always remember, as such you cannot express truth, and when it comes that you are in the negative phase of your moods, then you have to be extra cautious and do not decide anything, because that will certainly be undivine. All decisions should be made when your energy is overflowing and there is positive energy. It will be difficult for you to remain open always and continuously to a master. Not always possible. Sometimes you will be open and other times you will be closed. But that is nothing to be worried about. That is a rhythm. Just like day and night. Just like sound and silence. Just in the day the flowers open and in the night they close. Or just as you inhale and exhale. You inhale and then you exhale. So you cannot remain open 24 hours a day and not long for it. Otherwise you will create misery, and in misery you will become more closed. Misery always closes the flow of energy. Misery always closes the flow of the energy. So never worry about this. You cannot remain open 24 hours a day, and that too not for long. Otherwise that will create misery, and in misery you will become more closed, because misery always closes the door to the flow of energy. Therefore, a deep understanding is needed about this rhythm. One opens, closes, opens, and again closes. One has to accept it. In fact, they are not opposites, instead they are complementaries, opening and closing. The closing prepares you to open again, and opening prepares you to close again. That is a rhythm. When you are opening something, you are preparing to close it. In the morning you open the door, and then after some time in the evening you have to close it back. And when you close it in the night, in the morning you have to open it again. Closing prepares you to open again, and opening prepares you to close again, otherwise you will be tired. Just think of eyes that are not blinking. For how long can you do that? You will become tired, your eyes will go on working because your eyes go on working because they go on blinking. But we do not pay any attention to it. The eyes are constantly closing and opening, and in that they relax. In this process of opening and closing, the freshness maintains. This process keeps them fresh, young, untired, and vital. And it is a constant process of cleaning too. When you are open, some dust gathers. Tiredness settles in. You become weary. When one is closed, in rest, in silence, one becomes revitalized. Yes, there is a kind of opening that remains 24 hours a day too. But that is not part of the mind. Indeed, that is something beyond the mind. Something remains awake in you. In the beginning, you will have to settle with your mind. Certainly, in the beginning, you have to settle with the mind. Then one day, that too will become possible, but that is a transcendence. Then there is no rhythm. It is always the same. You cannot even call it an opening. Even it is meaningless to call it openness because there is no closing anymore now. You don't open your mind's windows or close it. It is a totally different kind of a phenomenon. One simply is neither open nor closed. That too comes. That will come. But do not long for it. Right now, what is needed, what is a must, is to accept the rhythm of the positive and the negative, the rhythm of the day and night, the rhythm of opening and closing. Sometimes you will find yourself very close to the Master, and other times you will find yourself very far away. Enjoy the two. Sometimes you will be coming so close and so blissful, and other times you will become so far away, indrawn, so unhappy about it. But once you understand that this is a rhythm, a natural phenomena of the mind, then there is no problem. You can relax. There is yet one thing more to be remembered. One thing more to be remembered. Never decide anything when you are in the negative phase of your emotions. Never decide anything when you are in the negative phase, and then you will never have to repent. This is what was told to Gurdjieff, that he started practicing since he was a little child. He belonged to a nomadic society of Armenian descent. His father, when he was dying, Gurdjieff was 7 or 8 years of age. He called him and he said, "I do not have any money to give you, but I have a piece of advice to give you. My experience is condensed in a sentence. And if you understand it, the day you will understand it, your life will be transformed." And what was that? He said, when anger is coming in you, postpone it for 24 hours. Because anger is something that has to happen now or never. You cannot decide that you will get angry after 1 minute or after 50 seconds. It grips you and it expresses itself, and then you repent. This is the negative phase. He started postponing. People will tell him things. He will tell them that I cannot decide it now. I'll come back, I will think over it, introspect, and then come back to you. Then he realized that whatsoever the person has said about me is true. And if something is true about me, then there is no need to get angry. Other times, it was not true, that this is not how I am, this is the way of looking at me, a circumstance and situation in his own way. That is not right. Then too there was no need to go and give an explanation. So when sometimes he will meet the people and they say you did not come, he said whatever you were saying is true about me. And I introspected and I found that whatsoever you have said was exactly true. So there is no need to come and tell you anything. I simply corrected it. Therefore, remember, never decide anything when you are in the negative phase of your emotions. Never decide anything when you are negative phase, and you will never have to repent. Decision has to be made when one is in the positive phase of emotions or energy. Just as you decide in the day, not in the night. When you are deep asleep, you do not decide anything. Always decide when you are happy, open, flowing. Then your decisions will be divine, will be right. Also, you cannot decide wrongly then. Then it is impossible to be wrong in those moments. When you are negative, withdrawn, sad, and depressed, remember only one thing: no decision is to be taken. This is known as biorhythm chart as well. Only one thing: no decision is to be taken. Let this phase pass. Accept it as a part of nature, but remember one thing always: never decide in those moments. Once you have learned the knack of deciding in the positive moments, your life will move in a totally different way. Biorhythm chart says that there are 3 cycles: physical cycle, the mental cycle, and the intellectual cycle. Physical cycle takes 28 days for completion. This is like the connected with the phase of moon. This is biorhythm chart. Not only females have menses, men too have. The intellectual, the mental phase rhythm, that takes from 28 to 33 days. An intellectual one takes 28 to 35 days to complete. Sometimes they coincide. Your physical, mental, and intellectual phase is overlapping. And eventually you become aware of it. You see that when the sunrise, when the moon is full moon, from that if you make a biorhythm chart, you will know that on these days you cannot make a decision proper. Your energy will be low. You can download this app, the biorhythm charts. Enter your date of birth and you will be able to get the 3 phases: the physical cycle, the mental and intellectual cycle. But do not be too fancy about it. Just let it help you in understanding your moods better. Because on our own, sometimes we are not able to make the decision and understand our moods. But eventually you will get to know. So never decide when you are in the negative phase. The ultimate truth is inexpressible and it cannot be expressed in words, and that too when you are in the negative phase. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.